Hello everyone, how are you all doing out there? I'm Kate Hill bringing you, I'm hoping, the best and unbiased and honest content on property, along with fantastic hints and tips and area location reports. Today let's look at the recent rental reforms in Victoria. If there has been one location in Australia that has been in the news property-wise, and not in a good way, more than anywhere else, because of the difficult state of its sales and rental markets, it is Victoria. The Victorian market has been variously described as challenging and even toxic by some commentators. However, as I have written about before, there are areas that remain ripe for strategic property investment. It's not all bad. A key part of the reason why Victoria's market is a bit on the nose, to put it politely, is the introduction of these temporary land taxes, and that's due to last a decade. There's also no denying that Victoria has introduced more rental reforms, more than 130, than any other major jurisdiction over the past few years, with many of these legislative changes seen as being unfair to property investors and landlords. So this is why we have seen an exodus of investors from Victoria over the past year or two. And while we have witnessed a bit of a resurgence of investor interest in Melbourne recently because of its affordability, substantial due diligence is required before you proceed, especially when there are loads and loads of other markets offering excellent property investment opportunities with fewer outgoings and less onerous pressure on landlords. So let's talk a little bit, let's give you a bit of a summary of some of the proposed rental reforms from the Consumer and Planning Legislation Amendment that every property investor needs to know. There will be stricter criteria when rent increase reviews are undertaken by Consumer Affairs, Victoria and the Victorian Civil and Administrative Tribunal. Notices of rent increases and notices to vacate will be extended from 60 to 90 days. Rental properties will have to meet minimum rental standards before being advertised. There will be restrictions on unnecessary or excessive data collection for rental applications. New provisions will increase data protections and the mandatory destruction and de-identification of renters' personal information. Rental application fees and rent payment fees will be prohibited. Any notice to leave will require valid and justifiable reasons. Prohibitions on accepting or soliciting rental bids above the listed price. This will include where prospective renters approach agents with increased offers. It's important to understand that these latest reforms have not become law yet. Some probably have by now, but it is highly likely that they will all be given the state government's balance of power and overall policy agenda. While many of these reforms have been enacted in other states and territories, given the underwhelming returns for Victorian investors at present, they may have additional implications. Investors may face higher costs due to the need to meet these new minimum rental standards like improved insulation, energy efficiency, before a property is advertised for sale. These upgrades can be expensive and potentially could cost thousands of dollars. The reforms introduce stricter regulations, including extended notice periods for rent increases and evictions. And these requirements for valid reasons for evictions, which could limit an investor's flexibility in managing their own property. Some investors might choose to exit the rental market due to the increased regulatory burden and costs, which could reduce the overall supply of rental properties, potentially leading to higher rents and less availability for tenants. Most investors own just one rental property, right? So these increased costs and regulations might disproportionately affect them, making it harder to maintain their investments. Meeting the new rental standards in Victoria can be quite costly for investors. The installation of ceiling insulation, draft proofing, heating, cooling, as well as hot water systems may require an investment of, say, $10,000 or more to fully comply with the new standards, especially when you have an older property. However, these costs can vary significantly, obviously on the property's current condition and the specific upgrades required. So while these rental reforms may appear onerous, for any investor who has been in the market over the medium term, or those considering Victoria as a long-term property investment location, it's really important to remember that legislative changes are part and parcel of an investor's journey. They're just going to keep coming and going. What really matters is selecting the very best area and dwelling type for your goals and maintaining your focus on the potential outcome 10, 20, 30 years down the road. As always, I will keep you posted on all things property from around Australia as our year progresses. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you are enjoying the free content. And if you're not, watch something else. I will see you soon. Bye.